Every morning show.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us a part of your afternoon. Jason, you're going to have to adjust the camera to accommodate the guest. Before we dive into the show, I'm sure you would have heard by now that Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. She's gone on to glory after serving 70 years as the Queen and head of the Commonwealth. She was 96 years old, and she dedicated her life to service when she was abruptly thrust into the role after the death of her father. And obviously, there are many around the world who are mourning her passing. She lived a full life, that we can say. She sat on that seat for many challenges and triumphs. And I'm sure that the world over, particularly Commonwealth nations, are going to mourn her passing in the manner which was befitting such a wonderful queen. So may her soul rest in peace. We have to now get used to saying, God save the king. That's up, me. Charles is the king.
Amen.
I know how I feel about that. Because if I can be honest, this chair's sinking none. What's going on with this chair? Okay, I have a problem, y'all. My chair is sinking. If I'm going to be honest, I ain't too crazy about Camilla. I still blame her for Diana's death. I digress. But Charles is now the king. He's waited a long time. But his mother has passed on. And I'm sure that we will all be watching as the British family mourns the passing of such a wonderful monarch. And the new era begins under King Charles. Wow. Okay, something weird is going on here in the studio. My chair is sinking. Okay, the other one came up, but it was wobbly. So this is kind of weird. This is a weird sensation, but I will get through it. Okay, so today We are talking about a phenomenon that affects not only us here in the Bahamas, but as we will learn throughout the show, many nations around the world are grappling with the same problem. And that is the problem of recidivism, the revolving door of prison, where many of our young men go to prison and instead of being equipped while in there to come out better people, many of them go into the systems around the world and learn how to become better criminals. And they come out and they wreak even more havoc or wreak even more havoc on the communities in which they live. Oh God, deceit. So what is going on? Why is there such a high rate of recidivism, not just here in the Bahamas, even though we will obviously focus on the Bahamas because that's where we are. But again, this is a problem that is happening around the world. And yet there are some nations, I have to switch seats because I feel like a little kid at the dinner table. I'll do it on the break. There are some nations like Norway, and now to a certain degree Germany, that have decided to take another approach, a non-traditional approach to what happens to an individual once they enter incarceration, a different approach to preparing them to take on their role in society once they would have done their time. And while many around the world have been very critical of this approach, the proof is in the pudding because they're getting very, very good results with regard to lowering the percentage of persons who return to prison. So, what are we doing wrong? Can we learn from nations like Norway and Germany and perhaps incorporate some of what they're doing in our system to try to grapple this problem? And then, of course, we have to talk about an issue that is behind the scenes related, but very much in the forefront affecting what I believe to be this problem, and that is fatherlessness. And we're going to hear some statistics about the number of people who end up repeat offenders who did not have a father in their life. And then we're going to talk about whether or not there's a connection between the two. So I'm going to allow these gentlemen to introduce themselves while I switch out my chair. You can bring Elder into the studio and go onto his camera, a single shot onto his camera while I switch chairs. Elder, you can introduce yourself, please.
Okay. Just want to say a pleasant good afternoon to those of you tuning in on Global 99.5. I'm sure most of the viewers familiar with me having been on Global numerous times and also host of my own show on Global 99.5. So Dave Williams, Uplifting Men's Ministry Director, also Director with Prison Fellowship Bahamas, the Brotherhood, and the International Men's Day Association.
All right, now this isn't going to work for you having to move this camera every time somebody speaks, so we got to get Dave up. Put it on the other guest, please, and have him introduce himself. Give me your camera, Dave. Go ahead, sir. You can introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much. It's a joy and an honor to be on this radio broadcast. My name is Assistant Chaplain Reverend Glendale Miller at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. And I'm looking forward to a very healthy and fruitful discussion today.
All right, welcome to you both. We got to figure out why you're not seeing Dave. You're not seeing his camera at all? Okay, this is strange. All right, so the numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line where you want to send us a text message is 8010271. 8010271. All right, Assistant Chaplain, let's begin with you, seeing that the camera is already set on you while we try to figure out what's going on with Dave's device. First of all, tell us about this event that is coming up that y'all are planning as it relates to the prison and recidivism.
Thank you again, Michelle. On October 6th through the 8th, 2022, at the Faith United Missionary Baptist Church, a volunteer and caregivers conference has been planned. This conference is designed to equip, educate, and empower volunteers, caregivers, to better provide ministry to those who are incarcerated, and particularly those upon release back into society, where ongoing ministry continues. As you may well know, that many times those who are released end up in churches, in various communities, and the volunteers that provide sacrificial service to a Majesty's prison is able to continue to interact with them on a regular basis. So this conference is designed to equip them in particular, to retool them, to give them the necessary information that there can be ongoing meaningful transition in their lives.
So these aren't prison workers per se, but these are volunteers on the outside who will be helping them to transition back into society.
Correct.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you hope to achieve through this conference?
Another aspect why this conference is so meaningful is that we have discovered over the years that many of the persons who are leaving prison are leaving empty-handed, meaning we have nothing tangible in terms of resources to give them a start. And perhaps that can be one of the key reasons for the rise in the recidivism rate, because employment remains a challenge. And we want to be able to provide assistance to the inmates upon their release, also their families that are in crisis most of the time as a result of them being incarcerated. They have lost the breadwinner and the family struggles. And so this conference, the end result was designed that we can better assist them moving forward. We have a number of speakers lined up, and I don't know if I'm moving too fast.
No, go ahead, because I
Okay.
want to get the conference out of the way, then we can talk about the problem.
Okay. A number of speakers are lined up for this conference. One of those is the Reverend Pastor Jadarit from the New Covenant Baptist Church. And a number of topics is expected to be covered, exploring reentry, creating a culture of discipleship and multiplication, life and spiritual balance, ministry to families impacted by crime and incarceration. That's going to be shared. One of the presenters is going to be Reverend Carol. She serves as one of the social workers in the social services department, a well-experienced individual. We also have on the lined up Canon Sebastian Campbell, who heads the chaplaincy program for the Public Hospital Authority. And he is online to provide information for this conference. And so it's so much, Michelle, that we have to cover, and we believe that lives are going to be impacted as a result of what is being planned.
Okay, so I think we have Elder Dave's camera up now. Let's bring him into the stream. So, Elder Dave, we just heard something very, very important in terms of why recidivism is a problem. And again, I want to say that it's not just a problem here in the Bahamas.
Right, that's correct.
But from my research, this is happening all over the world.
Yes.
We put them through our system, and we're going to talk about that system. Then we put them out, allow them to go out after they spend their time, do their time. Very little preparation for moving back into society.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to help with a head start, nothing to prepare them really for what they're about to face. And then we act all surprised when they go back to the behavior that got them there in the first place.
Okay.
How is this conference, and I want to get the conference out of the way, and then we're going to dive into the problem. How is this conference designed to change that?
Let's go back to some of the speakers on the conference in terms of, because the question is asked, how? And the first one come to mind, which exploring re-entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a part of the training is to train individuals, because we're talking about volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prepare these individuals for re-entry? Now, while I would, we always could use more programs, that I agree, but in the past, there has been some programs which I have personally been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Job readiness program. I was a part of that. I was a part of a number of other programs for persons who had like less than 2 years. I actually led out in one of those. But talking about the conference, and then it talks about redemption and the Christian response. All of this is a part of preparation, because you're training people now. In the past, person had this attitude: you do the crime, spend the time, take the key, throw it away, and lock them up. So now, out of this conference, you're going to equip people, you're going to train people. And so this conference is not just open for individuals who are in prison ministries. This is open for every and anybody. Mm-hmm. So, and you may not even have a need or care for prison ministries, but you can be a part of this conference to get the training,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's why I said, when you look at redemption and the Christian response, you talk about life and the spiritual balance, because in the past you discover that persons felt that they just go to church, they have a service, and then they leave the prison. So this conference, life and spiritual balance, is going to train you now that there's other things beyond just preaching to these individuals, because once persons would have gotten saved, if you want to use that, there are other steps that has to be dealt with: the mental, the physical, the financial, and I mean, and you could the physical, the emotional, you could go on and name it. So that's what this conference is doing, and this is the first time it is happening, because I believe that the prison, under the chaplaincy of Dr. William Thompson, recognized that we need to now take this beyond the spiritual. But not only that, we need to train individuals who have an interest, because we're talking about recidivism. We're talking about how do we stop it. So no longer in the past where it was you come to prison, you spend your time, and then you go back out there. And this conference is saying we're going to train persons. These persons now will be able to walk away from this conference and saying, I have been fully trained, and to use the word certified by the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Now I can carry out this ministry. And like I say again, just to be clear, persons don't have to have an interest in going into prison at all. The point is, you want to come here, you want to get the training, because my organization I'm a part of, as you know, Prison Fellowship, many of those persons never went into prison, but they are still able to offer services and equip themselves so that when these individuals come out, we are able to reach them. And I think that would lower the recidivism, right? And that's why we talked about life and spiritual balance. Then we talk about ministry to families impacted by crime. So there's also an area where we're going to talk about families who are now impacted by this crime. How do they deal with it? Because some people say, well, you're all in prison ministries, you only remember the prisoners. And so what they're saying now, you want to know, we want to give these individuals some training to counsel persons. You're impacted by crime. You don't care to go into prison. You killed my loved one. So all we're saying is that person's going to come in and this speaker, okay, this Reverend Chadorad now, who's going to give you that training to counsel families who are impacted, who's going through the trauma, right? I see another one I like, Waking with Justice involve women inside and out. One talk about waking with the youth. And then this is a key area right here. Mental health. This is key. Because many times, and we talk a lot about the gender-based violence, as you have heard me talked about it, and we recognize we give them the spiritual, but there's also the mental aspect that has to be dealt with, because we recognize that this, and that's why the conference is talking about transforming lives, and we go beyond just spiritual. We're going to give you the mental, the physical, the financial, the academic, everything that you need. In the sense, we have a number of speakers who are going to talk, right? Somebody talked about, look at this one here, trauma and the incarcerated, the cause and effect, because there's trauma for the person who's committed the crime, and there's trauma for the families.
Okay, so here's what I'm not hearing. I am hearing a wonderful conference that has been planned.
Right.
Great speakers. Wonderful.
Right.
I am assuming this isn't going to be happening every week, but maybe once a year, this conference?
Well, I'll let him speak to the conference first. Right.
Well, first of all, this is the first.
I understand that, but my
Right.
point is, this is an isolated event, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Right. This isn't something that's happening every week. It's an isolated
right.
event,
That's
made,
correct.
and I'm sure your hope is for it to become an annual event.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I am not hearing about sustained systemic change
Mhm.
within the system itself. Now, we're going to take a break.
Mhm.
On the other side of the break, we're going to dive into what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because that, to me, is the root of this problem. Listen, don't get me wrong. What y'all are doing is fantastic. Definitely a part of what needs to be done. But if we're not talking systemic change within the system itself, what y'all doing is pretty much a feel-good exercise. I hate to be blunt, and I'm hoping it has some impact, but we got to go a lot further than that.
I'll share a number of programs.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. We are talking about recidivism and how we can decrease the numbers of young men who are in and out of prison. And again, I just have to make sure that you understand that this is not limited to the Bahamas, but this is a worldwide problem where many persons who are incarcerated end up back in the system for varying reasons. We're talking about that today, particularly as it relates to our situation here in the Bahamas. Now, I want you gentlemen to tell us what is happening within the prison system to try to assist these young men. And I know it's mostly young men.
Yes.
To try to assist, to prepare them for reentry. And then I want to look at what is happening in other countries, which raises the question as to whether or not the prison themselves are a part of the problem of recidivism because of their approach to how the prisoners are treated and impacted within the system. But first, tell us what is happening here in the Bahamas as it relates to trying to prepare these young men to re-enter society.
So I'm speaking obviously as a volunteer. Chaplain will speak later on from a inside person.
Mhm.
But I said just before COVID, and I noticed PTVI actually was coming back this year, but before COVID, I've seen a number of programs that started this transition. One is the BTVI program. So I've experienced where individuals were going over to BTVI, learning different trades. They were actually in the prison itself.
Mhm.
There's the BAIC program that was also before COVID. There was a program.
Don't go over them so fast.
Oh.
Tell us what happens in these programs.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You want to address, right? Because I know the BTVI would have had these young men who were part of the class training in various skills.
So, so they teach them a trade. In
Yes,
other
the
words.
plumbing,
Okay.
the welding, the electrical.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And they had a label on the blocks whereby they actually came at the prison, and you had a number of persons. So these would have been individuals who I think had maybe less than 2 years remaining,
Mm-hmm.
and they were actually interviewed by prospective job persons.
Okay.
Right, that was labor on the blocks. I
Wonderful.
experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the BAIC program, or some partnership with BAIC BAMSI.
Mm-hmm.
That there was that program, and then
And what happened within that program?
well, I guess where they were teaching them about growing food,
Farming.
farming, and right
Okay.
along the line,
Mhm.
and preparing individuals so that when they come out, this is the way they can go about it. This is how they can get excel
Right.
the resources.
Mhm.
But I'll speak about another program that I saw, and I can speak on it because I was a part of it. I actually led it, and that's a job readiness.
Okay.
I work along with case management. They identified individuals who had about less than 2 years remaining. And I facilitate the program by bringing in individuals from NIB. I brought in bankers, persons who taught them how to fill out an application for a job, to get their driver's license, their NID forms. I also brought in Mark Turnquist from the small business. He did sessions with me, which focused on the 8 M's of business, preparing them to start their small business. I brought in persons who taught them how to speak for an interview, and I brought in persons who actually taught them how to dress, right, for an interview. This was a part of the job readiness. And then another program which was stopped just before COVID. This was the first time that my partner Kendra Bo and I, Uplifting Men, we had a program for the 25 sex offenders. So these would have been 25 persons were charged with sex crimes against the women and girls. And this program was specifically designed for these 25 individuals, which was actually 80% completed. We had a pre-test, but we didn't get to do the post-test as a measurement to see, where we were at. So I'm saying these were programs, as far as I know, that I can speak to, which all were part of the preparation for returning back into society.
Okay, quick question. Were these programs a part of the system, in other words, permanent, or were they programs that were created for a specific period of time? Were they permanently ingrained in the system itself?
Yes, these are ongoing programs as we speak.
Okay.
And I want to just kind of piggyback of our conference theme, transforming lives.
Right.
Change is a choice. And no matter how much program you implement, the individual has not been deprived of the opportunity to be exposed to various training opportunities like a trade. However, change must be a decision that an individual, he or she must make and upon leaving the institution. So the institution, Michelle, has done a remarkable job in providing the necessary tools needed for persons to walk away from the life that brought them to prison.
Okay, so I want to, and I'm not trying to knock what you gentlemen are doing. Trust me, I'm not. I just want us to have a very open, conversation where we look at all aspects of this, because the tools are good, and I'm happy to hear that they exist. But when you have, how many people in one cell? Generally speaking, about how many of those inmates crowded into one of those little cells?
Well,
and I know spacing is an issue, but I'm just trying to make a point.
Well, right. Well, let me say there have been some challenges.
Okay.
And as we speak, I think it was several weeks ago, the Minister of National Security announced on national television that a new prison.
I get all of that. I am talking about what exists now, what has existed now for many, many years in terms of the conditions at the prison. Everybody, no dine, no place to go. They don't make it comfortable for you in there. Everybody knows the conditions of the prison in there, right? And again, this is not to knock the work of you gentlemen. I applaud you for the work that you are doing. But I want to play this clip so that you can understand where I'm going with this. Because you could have all the tools in the world, but if you're treating people like animals, don't expect them to act like humans when they get out. Again, I'm not speaking specifically only to the Bahamas because this is a global problem. I want you all to take a look at this report. This was produced by The Economist. I had to obviously cut it down because it was too long to play in its entirety. So I sort of pulled highlights from it. And this is looking at the global situation as it relates to prison systems around the world and recidivism, and why Norway, and I believe this one may have addressed Germany as well, I'm not sure, but specifically it's addressed a unique approach in Norway, why it seems that the approach that they have taken, albeit very unconventional, seems to be working far better than what we have going on now. Take a listen to this. I'll play it. I'm Jason.
Reoffending is one of the greatest challenges facing justice systems worldwide. But could it be that prisons themselves are at the heart of this global problem? A former prisoner himself, Bill Kleiber knows the difficulties these men will face over the next 24 hours.
The most difficult thing that they're going to have to overcome is moving from being a child to an adult. See, inside there, they treat us like children. They've been making about 5 decisions a day. Now they're making 5 decisions a minute.
The odds are stacked against these men. Like in many countries, more than half of ex-prisoners are back behind bars before long. But there's one country that's taking a very different approach. This is Norway's Bastøy prison. Nestled in the Oslo fjord, a short boat ride from the nearest town. This island is home to 115 inmates, all convicted of serious crimes, from drug trafficking to murder. But this is no Alcatraz.
Our main task is to produce a good neighbor. All the guys staying here for a shorter or longer time have that in common, that they're going to be released at some point to a normal society out there and to be someone's neighbor.
Bastøy is a flagship example of Norway's liberal approach to justice. All of the inmates have been transferred from locked prisons and will spend up to 3 years here in preparation for release, under the watchful eye of Warden Tom Eberhardt and 35 other prison officers.
Normal prisons, you're actually taken care of all the time, more or less. You're told when to eat, you're told what to do. We are completely dependent upon the inmates on this place to actually make this small society go around. If you're a person that is going to survive in a normal society, you'll have to learn how to take responsibility.
From the ferry service to the farm, carpentry to butchery, the island is mostly self-sufficient and run by the prisoners. In their work, they have access to potentially lethal tools, a fact that doesn't seem to concern the employed head chef.
I've been here for almost 15 years, I think. I've never been afraid, not that once. They're normal people.
One of the island's longest-serving prisoners is Hans Petter Hansen. He's on an 18-year stretch, the last 2 of which have been spent here.
It's our living room, but it's also our practice room. So this is where all the fun is.
He leads the prison's blues band.
When you're in maximum security prison, you get your guard up. You close away a lot of things. You have to be very primitive in the way you think, like a caveman. But here, I can try to be more normal again.
Norway's liberal attitude to justice has been mocked as an oddball social experiment, but it is getting results. In the United States, reoffending rates are 77%. In Norway, it's 20%. An international benchmark helped by prisons like Bastøy, which has a reoffending rate of just 16%.
All right, gentlemen. So for those of you who were able to watch that, I know radio, you're at a disadvantage because you couldn't actually see the video. These men were living in what amounted to like nice little apartments. And some of the pieces that I couldn't show, they actually had keys for their quote unquote cells, because their cell was not really a cell, it was like a little apartment. They treated them as if they were living in a community already. So they weren't locked away for 23 hours, 22 hours, in a small cramped prison with a prison cell with, no separate bathroom and all this kind of stuff. They are treating them like one of the custodians said, we want them to learn how to be a good neighbor. So we're treating them now, teaching them how to become a good neighbor, how to become a good person in a community that is already functioning like a community. Now, one of the things that I thought was very interesting about one of the prisoners that they interviewed, and he described the mindset of when you are in maximum prison. You have to have a primitive mindset. You have to constantly be on. You heard him, right? When he went to this other facility, he could start to think like a normal person again. So could it be, and I'll play other clips as well, could it be, and again, gentlemen, please don't take this the wrong way. I applaud you for the work that you are doing. I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way, okay? Because I'm not taking any fault with what you're doing.
Right.
I am looking at the system.
Yes.
Because of the system that we have, what is our recidivism rate?
The last check, it was between 16%, somewhere around there.
So only 14 to 16% of our inmates end up back in jail again?
Well, that was from the last statistic that I have on hand.
Which is from when?
2020, when the pandemic hit, we wasn't able to gather that information.
Right.
So there is something, and had I would have been better prepared to answer that if I knew that was one of the line of questions.
Right.
you would have been asking.
Right.
But at the moment, that's from 2020.
Okay, that's a pretty good rate. Right. So we see then only a small group of people who keep going back in and out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a wide. In fact, I want to refer back to this conference. One of the persons that will be presenting is a former inmate who would be sharing on how his life has been turned around as a result of incarceration. But as I was listening to the clip that you played, I heard what the gentleman said about being a child and then being an adult and all of that.
I need you to come a little closer to the microphone, please.
Being told what to do. Remember now, you are in prison now. Your civil liberties has been taken away. You no longer have the freedom to do as you want to do. And being told that, listen, it's time to get up, time to go. Some of them still bring that laid back attitude that needs to be addressed if we're going to better equip them, better prepare them. We cannot make it so conducive, meaning a pat on the back, oh, behave yourself, don't do it no more, you could be okay. No, they need to be told, they need to be instructed, they need to be guided. And what happens behind there in the walls of HMP, care, concern. You have a number of persons who treat the residents with care. I mean, let me speak for me, okay? I always say to them, and I don't see you for what you have done. I see you for what you can become. And I keep that as a source of motivation to inspire them. Just this morning, I had a conversation having to share with a young man whose loved one passed. And I said, okay, we need to get with your parents and speak to them. It was his grandmother. And he said, well, Daddy is here. So I had to take a deep breath because what sort of parental guidance he provided that both his son
and him and he are in prison
at the same time.
Right.
And so, but I want to share something with you, Michelle, that in my view and what my experience has been, that also contributes to what to the challenge that we are encountering.
Mm-hmm.
The justice system.
Mm-hmm.
You ride Elizabeth Avenue in the wee hours of the morning. You come down Dowsville Street, and you see persons who cannot account for why they are hanging on the side of the road or something like that. Was it that they're picked up, locked up, placed before the courts, and they send them to the only prison in the country?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this overcrowding issue, but they continue to send persons for misdemeanors, things that could be worked out,
Right.
Or alternative sentencing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, could be offered. But instead, they pack them up, they send them there, and then they blame the institution. The institution cannot refuse who is sent there. We cannot say, no, you can't come.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the space. We have to find the space. Now, they are aware that there may be some challenges. And so that is being addressed. That is being looked at. And so I appreciate your line of questioning, but I think everything is not at the feet of the institution. And you talk about the system.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that it is. And we are going to look at the judicial system as well.
All right.
Okay. But we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good morning, my sister Michelle. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
How you feel?
Go ahead. We're listening.
Okay, thank you. I just love your show. But anyway, when you're talking about Foxhill Prison in Nassau,
Mm-hmm.
people who speak with it have a limited thing to say about it. They don't talk against it. I've been there in 2007
Mm-hmm.
to 2008 for something I ain't do. And when you have a ticket, a traffic ticket, and you don't have the money to pay that, you could end up going there amongst killers, thieves, murderers, rapists. They don't separate. You go there with a ticket and you end up with an experience you can't wipe off for the rest of your life.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. Nobody paying me to talk good. I've been there. I didn't want to smell the air, and I couldn't not breathe. I couldn't stop breathing. The air. If I'm only talking but the air, everything else is oh my God. I didn't want to breathe the air inside there. So if the air is bad, everything else is horrible. The worstest place in the world. I will eat out the garbage before I go there. They will have to do me everything before I go there. And I'm not a scary person. That's the worst place I've ever been in my life. You're mean. You go there and you become a criminal if you're a good person.
Mm.
Nobody can talk good about that place, Michelle. I've been there. 1 year. I've been there.
All right.
Worst place in the world. One person, you go in there, you're in a room, a little box with 5 other people. How could you use the bathroom? My stomach. If you're not used to them things, you want to not use the bathroom and for a couple of days because you have to build your mind up to use it around all these fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. You have a good day, Miss Michelle Malcolm.
Thank you for calling. That is pretty much what I'm talking about. And I again, I don't want y'all to think that I'm only putting the blame for this problem on the prison itself.
Right,
Because
right, I
listen, you ain't built a prison. You only in there trying to make it better.
Right, right.
But it is well known that our prison is one of the worst in the world in terms of what he just described.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's not listen. I ain't got time to sugarcoat nothing. It is what it is. And I applaud you, gentlemen, for the work that you're doing, and I thank God for you. But we could do a far better job. And I'm happy to hear that a new prison is coming, and I wonder what that will look like. Will it just be a bigger facility with the same conditions? Or if it's improved conditions, to what degree? We cannot, and I'm going to play a couple of clips here. We cannot, albeit you have good programs that you have just described.
Right.
We cannot treat people like animals and expect them to act civilized when they get out. And I hear what you're saying, sir, with all respect, with regard to, they're not there for, leisure. But our approach, and this is exactly what they're talking about in the piece by The Economist, our approach and the approach of most prison systems around the world is that of penalization for the wrong that you have done. So you're not there; you're there to be penalized for the wrong that you have done. There's another word I'm searching for. I don't remember right now what it is. But in other words, you ain't come here for no vacation. You did something bad. You gonna pay for what you did. So you're here to be penalized. Now, yes, thank God we do have some things that you're mentioning today that most people probably weren't aware of in terms of rehabilitation. But should we be putting more emphasis on rehabilitation and preparation to return to society than you need to be told what to do? Because clearly you ain't got enough sense to make a decision. You got to be told what time to get up. You got to be told what time you're going to eat. You got to be told, because you are being penalized for the wrongs that you have done to society. And I know penalization isn't the right word, but I'm struggling to find the right word.
I think you have been sent to prison not for punishment, but as punishment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're there. The sentence that was imposed by the courts is your punishment.
Right.
While you're there, you're not to be punished further by a number of injustices or things that you are rightfully entitled to that you're being deprived of. No. And so, like I said earlier, the system is with its challenges, and we are working and moving swiftly in improving those challenges. I think the same inhumanity, the same injustices that persons say they were exposed to, we are exposed to that very same thing as well, because we have to work among them.
Right.
We have to go into that same environment. Okay. And I am saying to you that, Michelle, that vast improvements have been made over the years, and improvements continue to be made. We are doing all we can with the resources that has been given to us by the government to ensure that certain things are done. We are doing it, and to some extent, going above and beyond the call of duty. And so I heard the caller, and it's unfortunate, but there is a classification in place where persons you're separated from certain individuals. Now, when persons are being processed, there could be a mixing and mingling at that particular time, but
Right.
you are in process.
Right.
You move and transition in the various areas. Like his was a civil matter, and so he would have, wherever he started was not where he continued the remaining weeks that his sentence called for, is where he stayed. He
Right.
went somewhere else,
Right.
where the environment changed.
Mhm.
And the environment continues to change as improvements at this particular moment is being made.
Right. Okay, let's take a quick break. I want to read a comment from one of my Facebook viewers, and then we're gonna focus in on what this person is saying, because this person is making the point that I'm trying to make, only they're coming from the opposite side. They're saying, please don't cute it up. If a man or woman committed murder, rape, or any crime which actually breaks the law in the Bahamas, you don't send them on vacation. It's just that punishment. All right. We're going to talk about this on the other side of the break. Because I want to show you all what this experiment is looking like in Norway, and the approach that they are taking and the success rate that they're having with this approach. We sort of covered that, but now let's look at what is happening around the world, that where they're taking the approach that we're taking, okay, and see what their success or lack of success rate looks like, and whether or not it's time for us to reconsider the way we are doing this. And of course, we have to talk about the father figure. I mean, you mentioned father and son in jail at the same time. That speaks volumes. Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. And my guests today are Elder Dave Williams and the Assistant Chaplain at the Department of Corrections. Give me your...
That's Glenn Miller.
Glenn Miller. Okay, the telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for text messages only is 8010271. I haven't even checked the WhatsApp line. Now, for the record, because during the break we usually have these really good conversations, and Assistant Chaplain Miller brought up a very, very good point, and I want to make it clear that I am not here trying to encourage you to break the law so you go have vacation up at Her Majesty's prison. That's not what I am trying to do here. Don't get me wrong, because what we saw happening in Norway, some fellas, the home environment that they come from, they won't go to that jail because it's far better than where they living now. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Now, after this caller, I'm going to take this phone call, and then we're going to go to another clip that is talking about the tough approach that is happening around the world, and looking at how successful that is or is not. But let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes. Good afternoon again. For the Facebook reader, when you read up the Facebook, the lady say, yeah, it's not cute. Go to jail, do the time, yeah, and all of that. But them people have to come out again. You can't talk foolishness. They have to come out again. So you're gonna say the same thing every time they come up with commit a crime?
The point.
That's all I have to say.
That's the point. Thank you, caller. You went right where I'm about to go next, because, listen, all of us in society tired of crime. All of us. And all of us, myself included, sometimes the attitude is, man, look here, throw them away up there to lose the key. Don't even look for the key no more.
Right, yeah.
Just lose them in jail. The problem is some of them coming back out.
Right.
They're staying in there.
That's correct.
So we treat them like animals up there because they did some heinous things out here. And they go in there, and I've heard this from, I was back as a reporter. They used to tell us, they used to call it the university, a PMH, because you go in there one way and you come out more hardened criminal than when you going in. And I've had people who spend their time and come out and tell us this, man, look, I learned how to do things when I got in there. That's where I learned to become a real criminal. The problem is some of them coming back out. And I'm happy to hear about the programs that do exist. But when you got 5 people pile up on top of each other in one little cell, how much time do they get to be in the fresh air on a daily basis?
Half an hour.
Half an hour.
To an hour.
To an hour in a 24-hour period. I mean, again, I am not advocating for people to break crimes because we soft on crime. But the question is whether or not this hard approach is working. I dare say that it is not. And again, this is not only relative to what is taking place in the Bahamas. I want to play a clip that looks at what's happening elsewhere in the world, but I want to see if this is a caller for the show first before I begin that clip. Is it? Yeah, caller, welcome to GPS. You need to turn down whatever you're listening to us on so that we can get rid of the feedback. Okay, listen to us through the phone. Go ahead, we're listening to you.
Yes, 10 minutes. He lying. 10 minutes. I was there for a year. 10 minutes. 8 minutes, 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes. Live.
10 minutes.
Hour?
10 minutes.
Hour?
Turn
10
down.
minutes.
Sir,
10 minutes.
sir. Turn down your radio or TV or whatever you're listening to us on. Turn that down.
Okay.
You're creating feedback.
Okay.
So you were suggesting that President...
10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's half an hour, whether it's an hour, that is not sufficient. And you heard the young man in the clip talk about how when you are in that kind of environment, and I dare say that the prison that he was in was probably, where he had to think primitively, was probably far better than what we got going on at BMH. I mean, not BMH, at Her Majesty, at the Department of Corrections. Yes. Let me say it the right way, right? That was probably already miles above what we have going on there. And he thought in that environment, he had to think primitively. So imagine what is going on up there. Some time ago, ILTV did a documentary on the prison and showed some of the conditions in there. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, because you hear these stories.
Right.
But when you see for yourself, and again, gentlemen, I keep saying it because I don't want y'all to get offended, because I know y'all doing the best that you can with the resources that you have been given. But something is broken. And I'm quite frankly shocked to hear that our recidivism rate is as low as you say it is. I'm shocked. I really thought it was much higher, because we have created in our prison. Jason, is the audio open for me to play a clip? Okay. We have created in our prison, and again, this is not just the Bahamas, a system and an environment that is not conducive to these young men truly being equipped to live meaningful lives on the other side of them coming out. You touched on it yourself at the beginning of the show when you talked about they go through all of these programs, they utilize all the tools that you have, but they get out and they ain't got no kind of resources to get started with anything. They can't, many of them can't be hired because people just don't want to hire criminals. So even all of those nice programs that you have going on, because there's that stigma of I am not hiring a criminal, because they go in with only to come out with only the shirt on the back or whatever, it still is, the odds are still stacked against them to succeed once they're outside. We have to face reality.
Yes.
So we have to look at this from a systematic approach and ask the question, and I'm going to play a clip, whether or not this tough stance that has been taken around the world is truly effective.
It takes more than statistics to shift decades of global consensus on punishment, especially in countries where talking tough on crime wins votes.
Time is running out for the merchants of crime and corruption in American society.
They can go to jail, and they can stay in jail, and they can rot in jail.
3 strikes and you are out.
The United States is feeling the full impact of decades of hardline policies. Although the country has only 5% of the world's population, it has 25% of the world's prison population. In a career spanning 30 years, Texan Judge Bobby Francis has convicted his fair share of criminals. In the 90s, he was gaining a reputation for being a no-nonsense judge, but he soon realized that he wasn't getting the results he wanted.
When you realize all you're doing is sending the people to prison, and you're sending them over and over, when I start recognizing people the second, third, or fourth time they come through, you begin to think, wait a second, this isn't working. All we do is double the cost. Crime rates continue to go up.
Judge Francis now runs a very different type of courtroom. It's turning back a centuries-old hardline approach to punishment. This court deals with serial offenders who have already been convicted. But instead of serving another long prison stretch, they've spent up to 9 months in a prison reform facility, before being released into a rehabilitation program. Each week, they face the unique justice of Judge Francis.
If I can get them to stay sober, get a job, be responsible, maybe they don't repeat their criminal activity and they change their behavior.
I've been spending a lot of time with my daughter lately. I got to go to a little graduation of hers, and I've never done that before, and it kind of hit my heart because just seeing her get her little certificate and everything, and looking at her look for us in the crowd, and it's just amazing. It really. I thank God for where I'm at right now, and I'm not still in my addiction.
Good deal. Give him a hand.
When Judge Francis started his re-entry court in 2001, there were just a few in Texas. Now there are nearly 250. In that time, the state incarceration rate has fallen by 16%. The challenge for justice systems in any country is keeping offenders out of prison for good.
You could check 5 years, 5 months from now, I will never be back to prison, never.
Until rehabilitation is put at the heart of justice systems' approach to punishment, they'll continue to fail offenders, fail victims, and fail societies.
See y'all later, guys. Y'all have a good day, all right? Nice meeting y'all. Y'all have a nice time, man. All right.
So what you weren't able to see, because if you're listening to us on radio, you weren't able to see. The last gentleman that played, and again, I had to chop it up, y'all, because it was a very long piece, and I couldn't obviously play the whole thing. But the last gentleman that you saw in that clip, Ollie was his name. He had been in and out of, he was 59 years old. He had been in and out of prison from the time he was 13. Addicted to heroin, had real drug problem, in and out of prison for just about his whole life. And he got released at the age of 59 and was supposed to go into some like halfway house, if you want to call it that, a transition house for a couple of days. And then he was expected to re-enter society, knowing what to do after spending his pretty much entire life behind bars. And one of the things that he said is, I don't have any family. All of his family was gone, or he wouldn't know where to find them. This is all I know. These prisoners are my family. That man was out for 24 hours before he violated the conditions of his parole. 24 hours. And at 59, he was about to have to go back to prison again. This cycle has been going on from the time this man was 13 years old. Because the approach has been penal punishment, as opposed to teaching you and equipping you how to be a good neighbor, how to re-enter this society, giving you the tools that you really need. Because, again, kudos to you all for the work that you're doing.
I'll address that, no problem.
Please go ahead.
You see, let me say to the audience on this radio station and those listening on all the various social media, we could sit here and try to fool ourselves. Programs do not change people. Okay, that need to be, if I could speak to United Nations, programs do not change people. A true transformation comes out of a relationship with Christ. This is why the program, notice, is the chaplaincy department talking about transforming lives. And the greatest change that takes place in the lives of individuals is through a relationship with Christ. That's where the change takes place. Now, I've been involved in Prison Fellowship Bahamas for 20 years. 90% of the persons I've seen change, lives transform, have not returned to prison, including persons who sit on Prison Fellowship Board, give their credit to Christ making a difference in their lives. Unless individuals think that's only the Bahamas experience, I've had the opportunity to be paid as a regional director for Prison Fellowship International with the responsibilities for 12 countries in the Caribbean. So I've had the opportunity to travel to prisons throughout the Caribbean. And one thing I notice is that a high percentage of the individuals who are in prison ministries today throughout the Caribbean are persons who were once incarcerated, and they give the credit to the transformation that took place in their lives to Jesus Christ. Now, you gave an example. I was about to say, I have a person who I know. I'm 57 years old. We grew up together. At 15, 16, he was in and out of the boys and girls school. The same thing with the prison system today. So I haven't seen him for a while. Every time he's out, he's in. And I presented to him the solution, and that solution is a relationship with Christ, not a church, not a denomination. You know what he said to me? He looking for a job. Don't tell him nothing but know God. The next time I got a phone call at Prison Fellowship Transition Home, that brother was to the Princess Margaret Hospital, tried to slit his wrists. When I walk into the PMH, and I only look at me, and he say, I just give up hope.
My Lord.
Right? So all I could have done, actually he's a family member, right? So all I could have done was just minister to him, sit down and minister to him and say to him, I understand, but later on, not then, I said to him, you been in the system, we grew up, you been in the system for years, from boys and girls school. I 57, he should be with 59. And I say, nothing has taken place. You been in and out of programs. I say, you got to go to the only one person who could give you the victory. That's that drug habit. So I'm saying that to you to say that the same gentleman and many others, they have choices to make, and individuals refuse to make positive choices. I like to say the spiritual choices. And so as a result of it, they go back into a lifestyle, and then they go back into the system. I told a gentleman who was staying with our transitional home, just happened this year, just a couple of months ago. And we talked to him, right? But for whatever reason, he decided he wants to go there, and he wants to go on his own and do his own thing. When I walked into the prison 2 months ago, the gentleman sat in the front of the service, and he could not even look me in the eye. I ain't got nothing to say. After the service was over, then he came to me and say, man, you know, I get mixed up with the wrong crowd. They lie on me. But the point is, all I'm saying, in and out of the system, you refuse to put Christ, who's first in charge of your life. I ain't talking about no church denomination. I talking about whatever your spirituality is. I speak Christianity because that's all I know. But if there's some other spiritual path that you know, that's where the transformation take place, because when the challenges come, you got something greater to hold on to.
All right. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Okay, caller. Y'all, listen, y'all can't be calling and y'all ain't want to hold on for 2 seconds, man. No, it ain't you. They got to hold on for a little while if you want, be a part of the show. You got to wait till we finish making the point we're trying to make. Listen, I ain't disagreeing with you.
Right. No, I understand. I love the dialogue. Right?
I agree with you 1,000%. There's got to be a spiritual aspect to this. But that doesn't change the responsibility of the system.
I agree.
The system has to be improved.
I agree.
And I dare say, and it's just my personal opinion, and y'all make that because I don't work in the prison. I that's where you all are at. But we have to put more emphasis on preparing them through rehabilitation to re-enter society as regular, normal people. And you can't do that if you got 5 people pile up on top of each other with a little toilet in the same place where they pile up, and they stuck in that place for 23 or 24 hours in a day, and you telling them when to wake up and when to go to sleep, and that's not human in terms of way people think.
But Michelle,
go ahead, please.
I applaud your passion. Let's go back to how many of them, whatever they may have been charged with, ended up in prison. I stated earlier that the judicial system or the justice system is fully aware. They have all these stacks of paperwork on their desks. They have to get rid of them.
And they got their own challenges in the judicial system with the backlog and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Right.
I get it.
So the individuals has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And they send them there knowing the challenges that is going on. I cannot stress it enough. We are well ahead of making the improvements that you spoke about, that you asked about, that you speaking about. We are well ahead, and I wouldn't say that all is completely well, but we are further ahead than we were before, and many persons who speak negatively, Dave, you visit, you've seen, okay, the improvements going on.
Yeah.
All right. And, I have no reason to tell a lie on this radio station.
Right.
What I have said, we are with challenges, okay? Challenges that is ancient. We are well on the way of improving, making changes, ensuring that the individuals get the necessary training, reducing overcrowding, doing all we can to work with the system where persons can be given either clemency or early release based on their strict adherence to the programs that are being offered, because it has to come, Michelle, with certain conditions. You want to go home early, you want to participate, you have to
have good behavior. Yeah, I get that.
Get involved.
Yeah. So the call light coming to you right now. So please hold on. One quick question, because we have a call on the line. The programs that you've been mentioning, are they voluntary? In other words,
No, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
Mandatory.
Okay.
Once you've been selected to participate in a program, it's mandatory. It's law. In fact, it's written into the Constitution that governs the prison system.
Okay. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle. Another great show.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, I have two questions. What are the inmates doing in their cells all day if they are told when to wake up and when to go to sleep? And the second one is that placement of reading material in prison for them? I'll listen for the response.
Thank you for calling.
Sure.
Right. She want to know what are they doing every day and if they are reading material. What I would say in terms of reading material, I could speak from Prison Fellowship behalf as well as other church and other organization. Normally when they go in there, they flood the prison with reading material. So I would refuse to believe that there is not sufficient reading material, but you as a chaplain could address from that perspective.
Reading materials are provided regularly. In fact, all persons, we in the chaplaincy department embrace in terms of the rights of the inmates to have publications from their religious leader or leaders. That is ongoing. That happens on a regular basis. In addition to that, there are other wholesome activities they play. Just recently, we had a basketball tournament in maximum security that encouraged camaraderie, togetherness, working to, and we saw positive results from that. That is ongoing. That happens on a regular basis. So there is activities going on, Michelle, to keep those who are serving time engaged positively.
All right, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm, me again. I don't know what these gentlemen talking about, but you be in darkness 24 hours a day. And Max, how could you see the read? It's impossible. I don't know what these gentlemen talking about. I've been there for 1 year. You cannot read in the dark 24 hours a day. It's dark. You come out there blind. You come out there with vision problem. I don't know what the hell they talking about.
Now, you see, Michelle, I want you to know that obviously the gentleman and I, it's unfortunate, sir, that you feel the way you do. But I work there. I see what is exposed and what is provided on a daily basis. And whatever your experience may have been is not the experience of many others that's going on.
How often do they get to shower?
Every day. It's every day. In fact,
I'm just asking because I don't know. Just
every
asking.
day.
Okay.
Every day.
Okay.
Every day.
So the typical day of an inmate is you wake up, you have breakfast. What is a typical day?
Breakfast. There is exercise. You shower.
That exercise is the 1 hour they get outside, or
Well, that is at the discretion of the tactical persons, based on the amount of persons they have out at that time. So it can be longer. Okay.
So because clearly they have to rotate them. Everybody can't be outside at the same time. I get that.
And then also it is done because of the high rise in gang activities. That has become a major concern within the prison system.
Gangs within the prison?
Well, when you send them to prison from off the road, they're involved in some gang on the road.
They find their people in there.
Of course, it continues. It goes on. They connect with those on the inside,
right?
And so that too has to be constantly monitored. And so the exercising of individuals' security must be paramount at all times.
Okay. We have to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have to address this aspect of prison and recidivism that has nothing to do with what's going on inside the prison. We got to talk about what's going on or not going on outside the prison that contributes to why many of our offenders end up within the prison. I'm talking specifically about the problem of fatherlessness. We have to talk about that as it relates to this problem on the other side. Stay with us.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. We are talking recidivism today. Whether or not the prison system here in the Bahamas, like many around the world, is serving as a revolving door for some. And whether or not it is serving its purpose, because, back in the day, it was Her Majesty's Prison. Yes. Now it's the Department of Corrections, right?
Yes.
So they changed the name with the view that, it's going to be more of a system where they can really be rehabilitated, those who will be reentering society. And this show today is designed to look at the system to figure out, is it really being effective as it relates to that goal? The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. WhatsApp is 8010271. Now, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Because a major part of the problem, not just here in the Bahamas, is this whole question of fatherlessness. I found a couple of clips from this young man who was a part of the correctional system in the United States. And he, in the first clip, is talking about the statistics of fatherlessness and how it impacts the persons who end up in prison. And I found it very interesting that many of the statistics that he mentioned as it relates to the number of persons growing up in fatherless homes is almost identical to what we have going on here in the Bahamas. I just thought that was very, very interesting. And he was talking specifically about the the African American community and how fatherlessness is impacting that community far more than persons from other ethnic groups. And yet we see where the prison population is far more, you see far more people of African American heritage or African Americans in prison than any other grouping. Could there be a link between this high level of fatherlessness and the high level of incarceration? So let's look at this clip talking about the statistics of fatherlessness as it relates to recidivism.
Over 70% of the Black community experiences fatherlessness or fatherlessness homes or fatherless homes, in this country. So why am I making this video? Because I want to point out to you very succinctly and very clearly why it is important for fathers to be at the house. Why it is important not to have children out of wedlock, and especially if you're not going to be involved in your child's life. Don't believe me, listen to the stats. First stat reads, suicide. 62% of youth without a father commit suicide. Runaways. 90% of all homeless and runaway youth don't have a daddy at home. Behavioral disorders. 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders don't have a daddy. High school dropouts. 71% of all high school dropouts don't have a daddy in their life. Juvenile detention rates. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions, they ain't got a daddy at home. Substance abuse. 75% of adolescent patients in substance abuse centers don't have a daddy. Last one, aggression. 75% of rapists motivated by displaced anger don't have a daddy. We need this to change, ladies and gentlemen. Our focus needs to be fathers in the home. There's two ways to look at this. We can look at it from the father perspective. A man, you got to man up. Don't be sleeping with women that you ain't marrying. And if you happen to be in a relationship or you happen to make a mistake, you're sleeping with women, have a baby with a woman you're not married to, take your position. I had a child out of wedlock. I love my son very dearly. Me and his mama did not work out. But I am consistently in my son's life. No matter how much stress, no matter how much drama, I'm going to make sure that I'm in my son's life. Why? Because when I look at these stats and I see 70% here, 90% of runaways, I see 70% of detention, 75% of anger issues, people who become rapists and all this other stuff. I say it is invaluable, no matter how I feel, that I need to be in that boy's life. I need to be consistent. He need to see an example of a real man. He need to have access to his father. And I think that all men should think that way. It don't matter what the circumstance is. Do your best. Now, I know there's women out there who are crazier than two left shoes, and they're going to make it a mission in their life to keep you from your child. All you can do is do your best. Now, women, I'm about to get on some of y'all women. Stop sleeping with men that ain't about nothing. Don't sleep with a man that's not married to you. Why are you letting a man milk the cow without owning the cow, right? He needs to own it before he milking it, if you know what I mean. Because if he just milk that, you don't have to own it. You're just giving it to him for free. Then he's just going to go somewhere and milk somebody else's cow with no responsibility. So quit putting yourself in positions where you're allowing yourself to get pregnant by a low-life, losing, sorry son of a gun that wasn't nothing when you slept with him, and he ain't going to be nothing when he done moved to New Mexico somewhere. I know that there are situations where you get married, y'all in love, and things fall apart. Make it your priority to make sure that your child has exposure, has access to their father. You ain't got to kiss his butt. It ain't your fault if the fool want to move away and not do his part. But at least at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror, you should be able to tell yourself, I did all that I was supposed to do, all that I can to make it available that my child could see his father, or that my daughter could see her father. Or at least find a fatherly figure to introduce to your child, to be a mentor. Maybe it's not, maybe you can't get in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So have at least somebody there to mentor them, because they need fatherly figures in their lives to become better.
All right, gentlemen, before we dive into that, we have a call on the line. So let's take this call first, and then we're going to dive in. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Thanks, Michelle. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to you guys. That was a great piece just now, Michelle. Very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that runs so deep. Because I had an experience. I had a relative that was, you know, in prison, repeatedly started at the age of 19. And he was because of drugs, okay? And I, with my brother and my mom, and we would go, we supported him 100%. His father was nowhere around. But, you know, the thing that I noticed while I was, used to make the visits and everything, on those long lines, Christmas mornings, when you go and you do your visits, if you could count, it would be out of all of the persons there waiting to see their relatives, you would find out of 10 persons, you may find 1 or 2 men there. Okay? And a lot of those persons in prison are very young. And, like their absenteeism in a lot of fathers before, like you say, if you can prevent it, have them involved. But even there, when they need that guidance, they need that support, it's not there. And sometimes, the chairman can attest that it's minor, it's very minor, instances. But because that they go into those prisons and they find the wrong mentor, they find the wrong role models, and then they come back out, they get deeper and deeper into that. But I have a question. I don't know if it was addressed earlier in reference to, because of my relative, I know it was because of drugs. Is there as yet a real serious rehabilitation program at the prison?
As it relates to what? Because that's all we've been talking about.
No, when intense rehabilitation, because there's so many. I don't know how many persons are in medium.
Ma'am, did you tune in late?
A bit late, yes.
Okay, we covered that. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to play it back and listen to it, because a lot of times persons go in there and they come back out with the same issue, and it was never really addressed. But
we covered that.
Okay, good. I'll listen. I'll play it back and listen.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Okay.
All right, let's dive into this fatherless thing.
Right. So as I was, for those of you, I want to say the International Men's Day organization, which I'm a part of, we're planning a national men's march for the 24th of September. We already got the permission from the Commissioner of Police, so he will provide the security along with the Urban Renewal Band, also the Defense Force with Commodore Raymond King. He will also supply some of the men, and we're contacting the Department of Corrections. But the idea is to have the fathers marching with their sons under the theme, enough is enough, men leading by example. Now, the plan is that this will be a men's only march. Women can be on the sideline supporting with their drinks or however they want to support. But the plan is to leave Christie Park that Saturday, 2 p.m. and return back. Men leading by example, fathers marching. The idea is now fathers marching with their sons. We've made contact with schools and various boys groups, Scouts, Boys Brigade. So I agree with you that has, my own experience has been, I spoke to 100 men in maximum security at B-Docks. And I asked verbally, I said, how many persons by a show of hands? And 80 of those raised their hands, grew up without a father, which leaves me to wonder myself, is there a correlation between the fact that 80% of those men there, or 80, did not grow up with a father? That could have been a part of the reason why they're there. But on the other thing too is this, listen to me, I've been involved in ministry for years. I don't accept excuses from men, right? And that has been a part of the problem, that has been the challenges. The programs are there, persons make a decision or choice not to be a part of these programs, which can help change and transform them. It's an individual choice. And I don't want to, because I too grew up at 57 years old without a father. So I don't want, and I'm sure that many other men can testify, they did not have a male figure even in their life. But when they look at where they are today, they are personal choices, and we can't run away from that.
Thank you, boy. Listen, I was writing as you were speaking, and my father passed away when I was in high school. My brother and I, we were brought up by our mother. And we didn't always walk the straight line. But mommy made sure that no matter what, we had to attend church, we had to do it her way and no other way. And both him and I, we are now leading in our various areas. So even though, and I'm not giving an excuse for the absence of a
Right.
father,
That's correct.
the absence of a father doesn't negate the fact that you cannot
That's right.
rise
That's right.
to a respectable level.
Amen.
There are many mothers, and I want
Yes.
who are listening, I want to applaud you. I want to send a kudos to you because you have done a remarkable job. In the prison system, I agree with the caller that the majority of persons that out of 100, and I'm just using that particular figure, that would visit the prison, 80 are women.
Right. That's correct.
And I ask many times to young fellas who are incarcerated, what's going on. Yeah, but he ain't checking for me. He doesn't want to have anything to do. And most of the time, Michelle, they come from an already broken family. There's no marriage there. There is, boyfriend and girlfriend, or nothing at all. So when the son begins to show signs of getting involved in criminal activities, mommy can only do so much. And I've learned over the years, while mom has done a tremendous job,
Right.
there is no replacement.
None.
There is no, listen, you cannot replace the fatherly figure. You cannot, I don't care how much she tries to do. She can teach him how to tie a tie, but there's nothing like a father's touch, okay? And so, brethren, if you're out there, you gotta get involved. And the ladies have to also allow him to be involved also.
Stop using these children as pawns.
Yes.
But your point is well taken.
Amen.
I'm going to play this last clip because this is exactly what this clip is talking about. Fathers matter. Listen, 71%, 70% of the households in this country are led by single women without a man in the house. And sometimes it's just, it could be through death. It could be through divorce. It could be through separation. It's not always absentee fathers. But the point is, fathers matter.
Yes.
There's a reason why the family structure was designed to be the way it was designed to be, the traditional family structure. And we can tinker with that as much as we do and want to and think there's no repercussions. But
That's right.
believe me,
Yes.
there are repercussions. I
Oh,
want you to
yes.
listen to this final clip.
It's invaluable to have a father for young girls and young men. Why you say that, Brandon? Is because in young men, it is irreplaceable. To ask me how I know. It's irreplaceable for you, or you cannot supplement the feeling that a young man has when he visibly see his father. I mean, just on the visual, just to see your father, to see an example of who you can be is invaluable. See a man that look like you share the bloodline and the family name. That, without words, that means a whole lot. And then to have a father who show you compassion. I think that's one thing that people forget is that the love and intimacy that a father shows his son is invaluable. Because when young men grow up without that love and that compassion from another man, they begin to look at it in other areas. Sometimes it's abusing women. Sometimes it's being promiscuous with women. Sometimes it's being promiscuous with other men. They're trying to look for that God-given connection with that source. And they end up going astray. Now when it comes to young women, how do they know? And then before I finish the men, then you see an example of how men should treat women from your father. You see an example of how to be a leader, how to be a provider like your father. As for the young girls, the women, young women need to see an example of how a man should treat them. See an example of leadership. See an example of someone being consistent in their lives so they can grow up and marry a man that's good. And I'm not saying leadership doesn't mean that the man got to make more money than you. That's not, that doesn't even matter in 2020. What it matters is, can you be a leader? Can you make decisions? Can you lead the family? It ain't got nothing to do with money. But also how it feels to be protected. And then that's something that young women can't get from mama. I mean, get fully. You know, you get, I mean, mama, all you got, that's all you're going to get. And it will be sufficient because you don't know no different. But what I'm saying is that there's certain things from a man, from a father, that you cannot replicate. And that's my whole purpose of this video. My whole purpose of this video is for people to understand the importance of having a father in the home. That family structure is something that means more than anything else in the world at the end of the day. You may not think of it now, but at the end of the day, it means something to you. Reason why I say that, because I believe in God, and I believe God has a linear structure that cannot be divided. Now, I gotta say this because people get in their feelings. If that's not your life, if your husband died in the military, in a car accident, an overdose or something, and you can never love again, and you cannot find it in yourself to love again, even though it would be best for your children, then hey, man, live your life. We live in a country where you're free to do whatever you want to do. But I'm just reading these stats, and these stats are saying fatherlessness creates destruction for young people in this country. Every young man, and it was all young men that I arrested who were juveniles, never knew their dad, never met the man, didn't know who he was. So it's more than just stats on the paper. I've experienced it myself. A lot of y'all watching know exactly what I'm talking about, whether you're the child in that situation or whether you're the adult that's experiencing that situation. Do what's right. Take care of your kids. Remember, fathers matter. So does moms. But in this context, we're talking about fathers. So fathers matter.
All right, gentlemen, we only have 2 minutes left in the show. I'm going to give you each 30 seconds. I really wanted to end on that point because I think that there's no accident that both from the statistics that we heard and the experience that you have had in the prisons, there's a vast majority of people going in there who do not have a relationship with a father in their life. That is not a coincidence. And I understand that this is a multifaceted problem that will take a multifaceted approach to fix. And fathers, you need to understand, you got to step up and do what is right so that we can address this problem once and for all, because y'all are the root. Y'all are the foundation. And I don't care how pretty the house is. You could get the most beautiful window treatments in the world, all kind of fancy carpet, beautiful roof. But if that foundation's shaky, we in trouble.
Yes.
30 seconds each, gentlemen. Final thoughts.
What I would say is I can throw out my number 4336917. Be a part of the conference. Apostle Raymond Wells will talk about ministry one-on-one. So you could be well equipped at this conference how to minister to not only persons incarcerated or outside. These fathers, that's a good opportunity to learn ministry one-on-one. 4336917.
All right. And final thoughts.
Well, transforming lives at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services Chaplaincy Unit. We're encouraging you to support and to be a part. And I want to say also, Michelle, that we have a Father's Day initiative that goes on. And so we want the brothers to be a part of. Thank you so much for having us on your show. It was certainly an honor.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I do appreciate it. I hope you all didn't take what I had to say in the wrong kind of way, because I wasn't trying to be mean. We got to go, though. It's 4 o'clock. Tomorrow is Friday. TGIF open line. We're going to be talking about the week that was. The big story, obviously. Lizzie gone. The queen has died. That's all some of us know. A woman been on the seat for 70 years. My God. Anyhow, we're going to talk about that and other things tomorrow. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Have a good one, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests